Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you see me sitting a little bit strangely, it's not because I sit having a dildo in my ass right now. It's because I have a cat in my ass behind me here, and I'm sitting on the edge of the chair. Right here, buddy. All right, so what happened here? The Russians I would say confirm something that was mentioned before about the Israeli military having knowledge, allegedly, reportedly, about the Hamas attack. That has been in the news before, but now the Russians, at least, Sputnik, bring this report stating that they definitely knew, but they ignored it. So the military had it, but someone else ignored it. Therefore, that someone else must go. Can you guess who that someone else is? They've been trying for some time to get rid of him. Nevertheless, let's see the details on this piece of information. Between you and I, don't tell anybody, even though I made a video on this when this happened in October 7th, I claimed that it was almost impossible that the Israeli intelligence did not know that these guys are preparing that. Why? How do you think these guys communicated? Through how? Smoke? What? Even word, from one not using any electronics, anything, because obviously it's under the Israeli surveillance. But even verbal, they didn't have people inside the whole ring of 1,000 people. How many crossed? How many people crossed the border? Well, there were some that initiated and some follows, but it must have been some hundreds of people who knew the time, the location, and so on. So that's why for me is very, I'm very skeptical that they did not know. Let's look at this article from Sputnik. It is from today, the 25th of November 2023. Israeli military intelligence knew, that's a present tense right there, of Hamas plans year before escalation, report. I also claim that such an attack, coordinated attack, cannot be planned in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. It should take months. You have a lot of people, a lot of weapons. They start with the rockets, they attacked, that have been planned, even though you can't have like a meeting and then with 1,000 people, let's say you do this, okay, now we do again, like 3 meetings. After 3 meetings, you start the attack. You can't have all that because of the obvious people within your group. So that's why, another garbage, but whatever. Israel military intelligence knew of Hamas's plan to attack Israel a year before the conflict escalated and reported the information to the Israeli security agency, but decision makers did not take the threat seriously. Israeli newspaper Haaretz has reported, citing defense ministry officials. So they report about themselves. An article that keeps popping up in my news feed is because some intelligence officers that found out about Hamas plans were females. They were ignored because of patriarchy and garbage. I just took on that, okay? But that's how these guys are focused on. That's what these guys are focused on. Oh, because they were women. And it says the macho, you can find it. I'm probably going to show you one of the articles. The macho leadership, they ignore the females because we live in the Middle Ages or something. Or garbage. But this is the focus of these imbeciles. So let's go back to this article. Israel's political leaders knew at least some of the intelligence data, but it appears they did not believe Hamas could proceed with the attack plan and breach the border, the officials were cited as saying by the newspaper. Well, another thing, What do you have here? This is two women. I can tell. Can you? I definitely can. Right here. Oh, here it is. Female Israel Defense Forces soldiers blame sexism for early warning of Hamas activity being ignored. Maybe so. So are you telling me now that besides the accusations that Israel is a apartheid, blah, 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 now you have an patriarchy over there? God damn it, what's next? Racism or something? I think they said that before with their African Jews, didn't they? Let's move on here and see what's going on. On Friday, now, just to be fair, if you don't have the exact data, you can, someone is going to say, hey, this guy is planning to attack you. How? They're going to come and physically aggress you. There's so many ways you do it. You can't prepare for everything. I mean, to be fair, the same thing as those warnings, September 11, 2001. They're planning to attack buildings. What can you do? How many planes are taking off? How can you know what I mean? Again, you can know, if you don't know the details, the dates, the locations, you can have your guard, but it's still waiting for them. I was surprised also with the slow reaction of Israel's military to the attacks. Very, very slow. And those are American weapons, so that's why they're winning. Right here. On Friday, the Financial Times newspaper reported the high-ranking Israeli military intelligence officer had called a detailed warning predicting a Hamas attack on October 7 an imaginary scenario. So a detailed warning. So if it's detailed, that means they kind of knew. So kind of knew detailed. So that means what? I don't know if you remember you should remember if you're old enough, the September 11th attacks. Some people said that they knew, but they let it go because they wanted to do what they did in the Middle East and more. Remember the policy, the new century, blah 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 in the Middle East was a plan. Well, America's new century something, I can remember. It was a plan done by I was about to say Dershowitz, Horowitz, I think, no Horowitz. There were a few not Dershowitz, not it was one of Zelensky Steiners anyway, who came with that idea that they should reshuffle the Middle East and America should be have a hegemony over there on in the Middle East. So that one, and they say, well, they didn't act, they let it happen so they can have a reason, enough, so they rile up the people to destroy things and attack and claim you like they did. And the same here, they might say, well, maybe we do this, and then, well, if you don't think people are like that, then I think you should get out of the house for a change and meet people. Not only, not bad people in general. The scale is smaller. The scale is smaller, but the intent is the same. Just imagine this one. I'm just going to give you an ugly example. If you think that we are not capable of just destroying others for no reason. When you go and you apply for a job, I mean, this is a mild example. You go and apply for a job. You apply for what? Economic reasons. Because if you don't have a job, you can't feed yourself and your family. So that means you're facing starvation. So that's an existential threat. It is. So when you go and apply for a job, you apply fighting another person who's fighting the same urge, right? Existential threat. So you are going to you fight technically to destroy some other person's existence by you taking the job. So you don't care about them at all. Have you ever thought, man, what if I take this guy's job, or I take this job, his family will die. But if I don't take this job, my family will die. So what am I supposed to do? Well, we all should have a job, right? Like the communists did. Well, if you do that, then you're not going to have efficiency. That's a different, so you can't have it both. So same here, whenever you take someone else, you take a job, you took some other people's means of existence, subsistence. So they might be starving. So you're a bad person. No, you're not. Yeah, you know what I mean. But put it in the same context here with the countries. Countries as interests. Do you think they would just think, oh, I should not attack Iraq because that's morally wrong or something? Well, I have the reason. They will attack me. Here's the evidence. Colin Powell, right? And they have weapons of mass destruction. They train terrorists over there. Saddam is a bad dude. We think, therefore, we should go in his house and take care of his family, right? Because we can. We're the good people. Why? Can you see here written good people right here? It's written. My mommy put it right here. So must be true. Jesus Christ. Garbage. On October 7, okay, we know. And you got to memorize this. Remember this one, all right? Because the other one always grows right here in Gaza. But this one is going to be there. You got to know it like the 6 million figure. If you don't, you're an anti or a whoever, whatever. So here is just there. And just pretend you don't know it. You're going to see people like, oh my God, he doesn't know the wheel was invented? Jesus Christ. Re-education. But how many gypsies were killed in the Second World War? Do you know? I always come with this. Because remember, the Holocaust was against many groups. Yeah, it was the Jewish Holocaust, but they tried to exterminate the gypsies, their political opponents, the homosexuals, the so-called deviants, which if you're off normality, and we know normality is based on numbers, on a majority, that's the norm, right? Then you're deviant. You deviate from normality. So when someone calls someone else you're deviant, you are, if you are not part of the norm. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that that's bad, because, geniuses like you and I are deviant because we are outside of the norm. All right, my friend, enough BS here. The point here is, I have, as I said, I'm inclined big time to think that they knew about it. I have no direct evidence. They said they knew it in a detail, but they choose to ignore it. Now, the intent. Why did they choose to ignore it? Because of the women? I don't believe that whatsoever. I mean, I give it 0.5%. That's how much I give, 0.5% of how much I believe that's because of sexism. That's one. I think could be a political move. Come on, like the Ukraine unprovoked war started. Russia, come on, Jesus Christ, started. Oh, they started. Okay, we didn't know, man. We didn't. Unprovoked. You are part of all this garbage. Anyway, my friends, here it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.